Cool. I'll keep this relatively simple. Everybody has slides. We have some slides, but it's a live product, so I think people will be probably much more interested in how the live product works. In a gist, Nora, the form factor right now, it's inside an IDE, so it's basically an AI assistant that helps you write Web3. That's just in a gist. We have some extra model magic to make foundational models happen like a lot better on Solidity and other more Web3 oriented tasks and languages. But you can still choose whatever foundational model you really like to build on top. So yeah, and this is like a quick demo of essentially. So I started this around. Let me see. I think it was around 5:20. So this was done over the course of about an hour, I think. So. Yeah, basically what we started with was, it's pretty long. It's a lot of contracts, but this is actually our BD person's what's it called, laptop. It's not my laptop. It's not a dev laptop. So it's actually a pretty good demo of how this works from zero. Basically the initial prompt was we wanted to see if Nora could help us build, let's say, just a cross-chain vault where you can essentially deposit and withdraw across different chains. So let's say ETH mainnet and base L2 for now. So it goes ahead, starts doing what it needs to do. If it goes to errors, generally this is kind of what we try to do with AI nowadays, which is, okay, if it runs into an error, can it fix itself? The recovery and whatnot. This is the part that we've spent a lot of time focusing reinforcement learning efforts on. Yeah. So this is pretty long. It actually even sets up your basic, configurations for you if, let's say, you lack Foundry or like basic NPM or whatnot. Again, this is our BD person's, BD lead's laptop, so this was literally from zero. Yeah. So it goes ahead to write contracts. If there's errors, it tries to fix the contracts and whatnot. And I'll just show the end product real quick. And you can see like it does run into errors every now and then, but this is all like without any human, human interaction. So it's fixing it itself. The end product, we have this, let me see. Yep. Okay, so this is like essentially what it's been doing after the first prompt. It's all ready, and if you're like a newbie to code, it even tells you how to run localhost and whatnot. And this is essentially kind of the result here. I won't connect to the wallet, but yeah, you can see you can deposit and withdraw. Now, of course, there's some problems here, right? You can only deposit on Ethereum, and then you can't really withdraw on Ethereum, and then L2, the L2 vault too. So let's say we try to edit. And by the way, this is just asking it to count the lines of code. So over the course of about like 40 minutes, it's written like 5,000 lines of code. Core smart contracts, it's around 200 lines. But let's just try it out. Let's see. So currently the UI only seems to be able to deposit on ETH L1 and withdraw on base L2. Can we edit this so that it can withdraw and deposit on both chains? Yeah, and so what's different from traditional coding is, well, you could get off to do whatever you want during this phase. So you could eat food, you could check documentation, whatnot. This part's it's mostly AI handled. Of course, the source files are all here, so If there's anything wrong, you want to make edits or whatnot, that's all totally possible too. Might be taking a while, but yeah. And meanwhile, I guess I'll just oops. Yeah, I guess I could take some generic questions if people have, like regarding Nora. Yep.
So Nora is Nora is specifically tuned to be optimal on Web3.
Yep. Exactly.
So because of that, do you see a loss of performance on non-Web3 tasks?
Not really. So anything that the base foundational model carries, we can't do worse than that. So like, yeah. So like raw Claude Opus or Claude Sonnet, those capabilities would be carried over. So front-end dev, Python dev, those are things that generally today are already baked into like the foundational model itself. So yeah.
So I'm just getting started with vibe coding. I'm generally wary of the idea of just doing a prompt and then letting the AI
Yep.
write 5,000 lines of code for me.
Yep.
Especially in Web3 and for writing the smart contracts, how security minded it is.
Yeah. So to be honest, it's probably already more security minded than maybe like 90% of Solidity devs, just because it's AI and the best practices are baked in. And then in terms of verifiability, like verifiability, so the weakness about LLMs is that they're not deterministic, right? The logic. So what we do is we add in compilers and whatnot to make sure that okay, there's steps that are like deterministically verifiable. Yeah.
When you said, for example, that it can download Foundry, I think you said, if you saw this about this Ethereum core developer guy who downloaded wrong extension and it got his wallet drained,
Mhm.
like is this thing, for example, downloading new extensions and is it able to do those things? How is it getting into the
Yeah, well, in that sense, well, this is not like decentralized in that sense. So like, whatever addresses would be like, we've configured those addresses. So, or like the AI will pull. So, yeah, it should be like the official addresses instead of yeah. Because generally, probably what happens is you do a Google search, right, and then people try to make a website that just looks like it, and then you click on the wrong, yeah, um, yeah. Oop, you want?
What's your recommendation in terms of like how we should build this into our workflow? You know, should we just give it like a spec sheet with the requirements? Should we be computational?
Yep.
Like a workflow we want to execute in Ethereum?
That's actually a very good question. I'll try to I'll try to expand on that. So I've been pretty lazy with this initial prompt, to be honest. It's just let me see. Let me just scroll all the way to the top. Oop. Yeah. So for this initial prompt, I think I've just used something very simple. Actually, that's the other one. So yeah, specific is always better, especially if, let's say, you want to use a particular framework or something else. So like I've prompted the AI to use LayerZero specifically for the bridge. If you don't, it will try to pick for you, but again, it's not always. Oops, it might be a little bit of a scrolling bug, but the prompt's like getting really long here. Yep. Okay. This is the initial prompt that I've given it. So yeah, I've specified that the vaults were just like 4626 vaults. This is for those who are not familiar. This is like a very standard form of vault in Ethereum. So like I think Yearn started it, and so yeah, and then. I've specified that I want this to be supported on ETH mainnet and base L2, and then LayerZero as the bridge. Generally, if you want it even better and even more like specific, like some people just do like full-on PRDs, like product requirement docs, and then put it in. Like it's not the type that product managers would need against like engineers, but you just want like the specific parts really laid out in a clear fashion, and that tends to work well. Yeah.
Would be able to handle like if I gave it like a 5-page PRD, would it be able to handle that, or is there a certain length where like
So to the extent that it's needed, generally you probably don't need a 5-page PRD, right? A lot of the PRD is like telling the engineer why is this is valuable in normal like normal tech companies. But AI is going to execute it anyways, so you don't need that part of the fluff. But yeah, if there's details that you really hope would happen, like, okay, what chains I wanted to support, what user journeys I wanted to support, that would be nice, yeah. And in addition, so a couple of tips and tricks for like coding with AI. So like AI, different from like systems code, it's very non-deterministic. It's like it's a stochastic model. So sometimes just opening up like a new window, like a new context window. So like if you open a new window and but still directed at the same kind of same workspace, that essentially creates a new chat with like a new context history. Sometimes that works. It's really janky, but it's something with AI. It's like sometimes you're essentially stuck in like a local minima of this very high dimensional function. And sometimes if you just reinitiate, it works well. So yeah, so essentially, one, being clear about your prompts, that's really important. And sometimes, if things are really, really stuck, it's nice to kind of reboot a little bit. But yeah, those are, I would say, like just off of my mind, like the best recommendations I have right now. Yeah.
Just to follow up on that last piece you mentioned, if you open a new context window, will it have to reassess the code base, get that all in, or is some of the context shared?
Yeah, well, it will kind of scan and index. So yeah, essentially we do index like the code base in a particular way. Yeah, and that's always included. Like that's like tied to the code base. Yeah.
Okay, when you open it.
Yeah, like the workspace. Yeah.
Sorry, I missed the first part of this session. How is Nora different compared to, let's say, Windsurf or Cursor? If I'm giving the instruction to wait,
Yeah.
follow this documentation from this website, or here's a PDF of the documentation. Like,
Yeah.
why would I use Nora if everyone is using?
Yeah. So real quick, it's like generation accuracy and then understanding of like the domain. So like let's say, accuracy means that okay, how many, like if I give it 3 passes or 5 passes, will it go through? Like for example, this is happening live, right? There's been a small error, right? There's been a small error here. It always happens with stochastic models, and can you recover from this? Because generally, like so. If you give it like 5 passes and it doesn't really compile, then it generally fails from there, whether it's Claude or Gemini or like Grok or whatnot. So yeah, so being more tuned on Web3 like the first means that okay, it's much more accurate, and then like much higher probability that it's actually going to work, like pass and compile. And the second is essentially understanding of practices. So like between different frameworks, which one's better? Is this design pattern a good idea or not? Yeah, so those are things that the general foundational model generally doesn't have in its core capabilities that come out of the box. Yeah.
Can I follow up with another question? So the APIs is pulled from where?
Which APIs?
For Nora itself.
It's called from the IDE. So the IDE calls the agent. Yep.
And this is Nora's agent, or it's using?
It's Nora's agent. Yep. Yep.
Is there a possibility of using the Nora agent? Is it an LLM or is it just?
So our own models are like built on top of like it's on the post training phase. So like after the LLM. So like you could still use here's like you could just see with Gemini 2.5 or Claude 4 or whatnot. 3.7 is here for some reason, but yeah. So whatever foundational model you feel really comfortable with, that's like doable. Yeah, and then whatever like Nora does that's really specific to Nora is actually after that. Yeah.
Is there any way to access that outside the IDE?
Not yet. We do have plans to release like CLI versions real quickly, but yeah.
I know this is also missed the first half, but
Yeah.
I was wondering if there was like a specific prompt which, let's say, Cursor gets stuck or something, and Nora was able to figure it out with more specific.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, yeah. Well, you have to try a few, but like, let's say, if you try to let it run dexes, dexes are generally right. They're like they're optimized towards like much more efficient like mathematical ops and whatnot. And you'll find that Claude will give you like a generic answer or whatnot. But you know, yeah, Nora can give you something that's much more optimized in that sense. And then, well, in terms of getting stuck, like see, it got stuck here, right? For some file operation, but yeah.
This is not really Hackathon specific, but
Yeah.
you mentioned it was post-training.
Yeah.
What goes into the decision between of like doing post-training versus like maybe doing something from scratch or
Yeah.
Hugging Face, something like
That's really easy to answer. So like basically, if you want to use like capabilities of closed source foundational models or not, it's just the reality that open source models, they exist. But if you want to tune them really, really well, like fine tuning a full large model is generally like $1 to $5 million nowadays. Yeah. So do you want to spend $5 million and fine tune it, and then will it do better than like using Claude 4 plus post training? That's basically the decision. We thought, you know, this was the better way to make it happen like immediately tomorrow for our users. So yeah. So we will optimize context, but like the context window itself, at least like in terms of interacting with the LLM, that's just whatever the LLM can handle. So like Gemini 2.5, theoretically it can handle like 1 million, and then Claude 4, okay, they've just announced like 2 days ago that they're upping up to 1 million, but before that it was like 200K. So yeah.
So regarding the bounty,
Yep.
is to be eligible, is it just by integrating the Nora agent inside your IDE and building anything?
Yeah.
Qualifies you, or is it like specific to upgrading Nora itself in some way?
Yeah, so it's the requirements should be pretty easy to meet. So if you generate any section with Nora, you're eligible. So yeah.
How do you know it was generated in Nora?
I mean, you have like traces here, so like the actual generation traces, right?
But like you're just going to see the GitHub repo, right?
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, so generally, like during judging, you'll be like moving around with your laptop, and yeah. I mean, you could include the snapshots into your GitHub repo too, but yeah.
This is in Visual Studio or
The IDE itself is just like a VS Code fork. Yeah. Yeah, there's nothing special about it. It's just like, for us, it's a lot easier to, you know, do tool calls and whatnot if we ship it with the IDE. Yeah.
So you're looking for any particular use case of app or yeah?
Not really. Just anything cool built on Nora. Yes. Yeah. Anything cool built on Nora. Yeah.
Do you have any examples of super crazy or interesting apps that were unlocked by building on Nora?
To be honest, that comes from the human, right? Like the interestingness has to come from the human brain still. Like, I mean, you could ask AI to like make suggestions, but it's still down to the human to essentially formulate the most fundamental of ideas, I think. And so, yeah, what AI does is it helps you execute on that, right? Like maybe it took you, I don't know, like say 72 hours before to really make that idea like reality, but with AI, it might be done within like minutes to 1 or 2 hours. Yeah.
Do you have any examples, I guess to clarify, of the most complex app you saw developed using it?
So most complex, we've actually tried a game, but that's with so with anything like either vibe coding or like AI assisted coding, the kind of trade-off spectrum is how much human kind of intervention do you want to put onto it. Like right now, so I'm not intervening at all, right? And it's nice, but for games, you do need to watch on it quite a bit more. But it works too, and you know, generally, let's say if it was a game that took you about a week or two to put together as a demo previously, you might be able to get that together in like 7 to 8 hours. Yeah, that's when we've internally tested it. So yeah, if you're willing to intervene more, there's lots more possibilities, but yeah.
I have one last question. So when I
Yeah.
for sports betting.
Yeah.
But the problem is the oracles for sports betting are quite expensive. So the technical issue would be, well, to solve would be to integrate Chainlink
Yeah.
somehow and have it communicate with Chili's EVM and Chainlink's Ethereum.
Yeah.
How far would Nora get to assisting in building something like that? Is it able to access like the docs of Chainlink, like the newest ones?
I think we've indexed a good amount of Chainlink's docs just for this event. So we'll see. So like for things like CCIP and I think the default oracles, they should be indexed. But yeah, but the part that you just described, there's a certain bit of logic, which is you have to somehow hook the external kind of betting data together with that Chainlink. So we'll have to see. Thing with AI is it's always, you just have to try and see. That's kind of the fun part, yeah.
And you can just download it off your guys' website.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so in terms of Windows, we'll probably be uploading a build around like 10 p.m. or so. The reason is we don't support Windows that well by default because it has like a different shell, and you're probably using WSL, right? Or like for the or PowerShell or okay, yeah, it's just like much less native. It's not Unix, so yeah. Mac and Linux are well supported, yeah. Yeah, so the Windows part it's experimental. I'll have to be honest about that. Yeah. Yeah, so virtual machine running Linux, virtual machine that works too. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's still in its modification phase, but yeah. Yeah. Do we feel like we want to ask more questions or? All right. Yeah, I'll just keep it on this. I mean, so basically, this is essentially. Oh, okay. It's already updated the UI. For those who missed it, kind of the initial pass had like a, not really bug, but the AI made a decision where you can only like deposit from Ethereum L1 and withdraw from like the base L2 vault. And so yeah, the prompt was to ask it to have support for both and. Yeah, and now it's like testing itself. So mostly, it's just trying to resolve all these bugs and whatnot. Oh, okay. I reached the usage quota. Yeah, it's like 200 credits for free, and it should be enough for the weekend. But yeah, if people have problems, come find us. Yeah. Yeah. It's like, we're about a dozen people. Yeah. This has been just weeks. I mean, we were AI nerds before, so yeah. Yeah, we thought, Web3. Yeah.
This also doesn't have to do anything with hackathon, but when you say the post-training, like you take the LLM data and then what exactly do you does it check?
So a lot of things. So like compiler data and whatnot, and then also like the code itself, obviously, and we have a good amount of reinforcement learning in the backend to string it all.
LLM and then you feed that into another LLM and you have steps that you go through. That's the post.
Yeah, so it's LLM, and then we feed that into a model that's not in an LLM, but yeah, that model does a lot of work. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Another technical question.
Yeah.
So, are there any other advantages you could get by forking VS Code versus? I feel like this could be
Yep.
like an extension or an MCP itself.
Yeah.
Versus like requiring an entire fork of VS Code. Is there any direction Nora's heading with like other like
Yeah.
built-in things in VS Code or?
Yeah. So like. We kind of forked VS Code just because it allows us to do more like be more precise with our tool calls and whatnot. Like you could technically do this as a VS Code plugin, but it's just a little harder, and you have to work with the APIs that are available. So that's the slight difference. We will have a CLI version soon, so that's that's been strongly preferred by some developers like Claude Code and AMP. So yeah, and then we might just have an API version later on too. So
Sorry, one last question.
yeah.
Like, does Nora only help with Solidity code, or does it help with, let's say, Next.js front-end app talking to Solidity?
Yeah. So as of now, I would say so. Solidity's been quite well tuned and trained, and then on top of that, anything that so like the JS and Python part normally just comes from the foundational model itself. Like Claude is already good in and of itself when it comes to JavaScript, and so yeah.
Do not have anything like, okay, specifically dynamic, for example, like integrate with that. Nora doesn't help with that. That just comes from the foundation.
We've tuned a few things too. So like you know, in terms of what kinds of frameworks do you use and whatnot. So it just makes it slightly better, but it's more like a quality of life upgrade in terms of JavaScript. Yeah, but yeah, we don't support Move or like Solana SVM yet. So that's to come. Yeah. All right. Cool. Yeah. Well, thanks for the questions, and you know, we'll be in the Discord 24/7 this weekend. So if anybody has problems, feel free to just ping us. Yep. Awesome. Thank you.